This video is an introduction to trigonometric graphs. You don't need to take any notes, I just want to show you how cool this is. So, look at this thing. It's a unit circle. You know what a unit circle is. I've created a slider to do the angle. So I can go all the way from an angle of 0, all the way around the circle to 360, but I can keep going to angles greater than 360, just going round and around and around the circle. Pretty cool. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is over here on this Cartesian plane, I've got two Cartesian planes side by side. On this Cartesian plane, I'm going to put a dot. This red dot here. Now, I want you to see that this red dot corresponds to this unit circle in two ways. Look at the angle, 36 degrees. That corresponds to the x-coordinate of this red dot. As I change the angle, the red dot moves across the screen. Watch. It's moving across the screen. And the angle, 348, always matches the angle, 348. Now, what I also want you to see is that the height of the red dot always matches the height of this black dot here. Look at this. See this orange line that's cutting through here? As I move up and down, the height always matches. So, what this red dot is doing is monitoring the angle and monitoring the height and putting it together into the x-axis and the y-axis of this graph. Now, watch what happens. I'm going to turn the trace on this red dot here. And then I'm going to animate this. Watch this. Okay, you can see we get this nice shape here. And this is a periodic function, or a trigonometric function, or a trigonometric graph. It traces out what's happening on our unit circle. Oh, you can see it's coming back the other way again as that angle unwinds itself. Now, this graph is actually y equals sine x, where x represents the angle in our circle, and y represents the height of that dot right there. Now there is another trigonometric graph. It's constructed in a similar way. Let's move that angle again. Okay, now as I move that angle, what's happening there? I've got a point, but the point's not following the height of this dot this time. The point is following, instead of following the height, let's go back here. Our dot's about here right now. The dot is following the distance, the horizontal distance from 0 to here. In other words, it's following the x-coordinate of that dot. Let's watch this. Alright, the x-coordinate is 0, 0. The x-coordinate is -1, -1. The x-coordinate is 0, 0. The next coordinate is 1, 1. And you can see it's following the x-coordinate. Now, this curve is called the cos curve. Y equals cos x, where x is the angle here on that circle, and y is the horizontal distance, the x-coordinate of our dot. Now, those two curves together, we now have a sine curve and a cosine curve. I'll just get rid of those dots. Now, you don't need to have a circle tracing things out every single time you make a sine curve and a cosine curve. There are nice, neat ways to create these curves, which we'll be talking about. Alright, so there we have two curves. We have y equals cos x and y equals sine x. Now we're going to be talking about these in greater detail, what points they pass through, the height of them, etc., etc. This was just connecting this circle to these graphs.